All right, so basically, Magic made a bunch of our Master Duel meme review cards. Just it's just slop. It's memes that you've seen for 10 years. It's literally every single entry into our Master Duel for the last 3 years. Are now made into Magic cards, and they're all like, I don't know, are these like staples? I'm pretty sure Counterspell's like a blue staple or something. I don't know how Magic works. Is it a core card? I don't know. Anyway, point is, like, these are stapley sort of cards, and they've just gotten a bunch of meme artwork. This is so heckin' funny. I have never felt more validated in hating Magic more than I do today. Jesus Christ, how do you let the company do this to the game you all love? Do you have any respect for yourself? If Konami tried this, I would be out of Yu-Gi-Oh! In an instant. This has 2,700 likes. Can I just, like, be completely honest here? What's the big deal? Like, yeah, it's just not that deep. Like, what's the problem? If Wizards want to make some weird, like, collab with a big company and produce some dumb artwork on some cards that are already accessible for the players, it's like, who cares? Right? Like, can anyone, like, explain and break it down for me? Like, I'd love to learn and understand this perspective. I just don't get it. Like, you know, it's like whenever they make those, you know, those chibi artworks that we're getting in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's kind of how I see it, right? It's like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, just don't partake in it, you know? SpongeBob is sponsored by Big Pharma. It's peak. People who complain about this are nostalgic oldies that are attached to the past and can't see the future vision of the game. What? SpongeBob memes? Come on, relax. That's not a correct explanation. There's more SpongeBob cards than those. Secret Lair SpongeBob. Inevitable... Inevitable betrayal. Oh my god. Mr. Krabs, Penny Pincher. Plankton, Tiny Tyrant. Sandy Cheeks, Martial Astronaut. Gary the Snail. Squidward, Sarcastic Snob. Yeah, what? It's just dumb. Like, why? It doesn't have to be that deep, does it? Like, what's the issue? It's not like they're mandatory to play this. You can choose to play these versions or not. Are these purely just alt arts? Magic is losing its identity according to some players. Well, I guess I can kind of understand that, right? Because as an outside observer, like, Magic has done, like, these big name collabs a number of times now. I think there was Star Wars a year or two ago. Wasn't there a Marvel one? And then more recently, there was Final Fantasy as well. You know, there's a lot. It's like, you know, I guess I can kind of see that from an artistic perspective, and I suppose if you're deep into, like, the lore of Magic and stuff, I can get why that's a problem. But question, all of those collabs that Fortnite is, I mean, that one's crazy, to be fair. Is that, like, are these, like, cosmetic cards, or are they making, like, actual, like, Donald Duck, like, Jinkies, Mickey Mouse cards that are real and playable in meta decks? So, like, you could be forced in a way to play, like, some Fortnite, like, Tomato Town lands and stuff because it's optimal in theory. So I guess I can kind of understand why people are upset about that, because that's just not the aesthetic of their game. And they have done it a lot, I suppose. But these SpongeBob ones are purely cosmetic ones, no? You're forced to play Spider-Man and stuff. I don't know who's trolling and who isn't here, dude. Like, I don't know who's telling the truth right now. You read something so ridiculous and it's just like, is this an Onion article? You know? You're forced to play Spider-Man in Magic, apparently. Well, I don't know. If any Magic players can fact check that, let me know. They call it Universes Beyond. It's very all over the place. Right, but, like, why? Like, what's the problem with that? I guess is what I want to learn. They're not standard legal until the Final Fantasy set. They're for Commander and playable cards. I wish you would be better with collabing, or at least put their own games into you. Like, dude, imagine proper Castlevania stuff or Bomberman. Yeah, it is kind of weird that they don't use their own IP. But that's because you need to understand, like, just for technical details here. The owners of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Shueisha. or TV Tokyo or Studio Dice or some sort of mixture of all of this. Konami does not own Yu-Gi-Oh! And has no ownership whatsoever. Konami licenses the game for the card game specifically. That's it. So in terms of actual, you know, having a stake and investment in the product, Konami has nothing. Like they're just a licensor for the card game of Yu-Gi-Oh! The franchise and in IP specifically. So in some way, they would have to get like permission and stuff probably to use Metal Gear in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, to use Castlevania and all that stuff, because it's not their IP. Like these are separate companies. So that's important to think about, right? Well, I mean, it's Konami's IP, Metal Gear and stuff, but they can't put it into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's someone else's IP, right? Is what I'm saying. So that's the big difference here. Anyway, that's like a random. Didn't they parody Metal Gear? Like, there's like references, but not like explicit intellectual property usage, right? That's like a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a reference to SpongeBob. This is literal SpongeBob IP, right? So that's different. Like, in some ways, you could say like Metal Gear is like reference, or like Gradius as well. I'm pretty sure like that's like, those are very kind of, you know, referencey, but I don't think those are like actual the product of Gradius. And anyway, the point is yeah, so like back to the Magic thing. I can see why people are getting in a twist over this. So, you know, if it's the standard going forward, that's gonna suck, right? Like I'm pretty sure if you're really into like Magic aesthetically and artistically, that's gonna look bad. I don't know, maybe if I just read some of these comments, it'll probably explain like what the big deal is, because I kind of, how do you mute Dyer? Yes, finally a good button to press. Is there no like sort by likes or something? We as players have little to no say. Hasbro wants big bucks, and ever since the first one with Walking Dead, it brings oh yeah, there's a Walking Dead one. They did everything. This product is not for you. It's slowly becoming, this game is not for you, and all we can do is find the parts that where it's still for us or leave. This feels like so dramatic, right? Like the gameplay is still the same. Leave and stop supporting the company that has no interest in you. I don't know what players can do about it. There's been huge outcry since the beginning, but Wizards doesn't have any interest in stopping. Shrug. I mean, that's a terrible attitude, regardless of what you think of the situation. They're planning to release 3 secret layers, one based on the characters, one based on lands, and one based on memes like you're complaining about. Chill, this is a cool idea. Is this not the same thing? Yeah, like this, for example. This is a Konami game, I'm pretty sure, right? That they made into a Rota. We do not have this card. I think this is a bad choice for the OCG, but that is not the game I play, and it has no impact on me. Wait, Dyer thinks this is bad? Why? What's wrong with this? What's the problem? I don't get it. Why is that a bad thing? Seeing SpongeBob with a Magic card has zero impact on me. Look at the profile of the person you answered. Don't think they're here to talk about the issue in good faith. Actually, the OCG is a different game. That's the wrong counter argument. This is on Macedo anyway. The difference is that this is Konami IP. Easter eggs in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are done with integrity and creative process. This is just ripping off memes. So this is not done with a creative integrity and integral process. I guess I can understand that. But like, I just feel like ultimately, like, whatever, right? Like, who cares? Like, if you don't like it, it's not for you. Then just use a different card. Right? Maybe it's like this internet syndrome thing where everyone feels like, you know, it's not just that your opinion has to be heard, but it's like everything is it requires a take, right? And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at here. And what I'm feeling. It's like everything that happens, everyone has to have an opinion and a take. And it's like, it's okay to just not have a take on something, right? Like, I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, I don't have a take on this. I just don't care. Right? Like, as long as this isn't actually affecting the real, you know, design direction of the game, and it's a purely aesthetic thing, I don't care. I wouldn't use these cards. Maybe some of them. I don't know. Inevitable Betrayal is crazy. But I just don't care. Right? I don't know. Not everything needs an opinion. The first crossover cards they released were mechanically unique and got huge backlash for it, and they seem to learn from that and avoid it, but then change their mind to the point where over 50% of Magic sets are crossovers with mechanically unique cards that are going straight into the standard format of the game. Spider-Man... Oh, so Spider-Man is real. Okay, right. I thought someone was trolling about that. Together with the most products of other formats being crossovers, it's just not Magic anymore if you ask me. That's very well explained. I guess I've never had it described that way. That makes some good points. I guess, like, if you are buying Magic product, and then the Magic product is good, cool, unique cards, but it's this constant, like, you know, pop culture crossover for corporate gain constantly, and it's an aesthetic and artwork that is nowhere within the realm of Magic, I get why that's annoying, but I'll give it, like, I'll say for, like, from my perspective, I don't care what the card looks like, right? Like, you know, as an example, for Burning Abyss, one of my favorite decks, I literally could not care about, like, Dante's Inferno. And, like, the deep lore behind Farfa being representative of one of the Italian ministers who had been arrested for, like, I don't know, there's some, like, actual deep lore behind which each Malabranch represents a historical figure and what they... I don't care, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, for me... I'm purely gameplay orientated. I can completely understand the other perspective, right? Because there's, without a doubt, plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh players who play decks because of their artwork, lore, and aesthetic. Like, they actually don't care about the gameplay. They just really want to play a Nordic-themed deck. They really want to play a, you know, machine-style deck, right? Like, that is identity that is very intrinsic to a lot of players. I completely get that. So I suppose with that description and explanation in mind, it makes a lot of sense. But again, for me personally, I kind of don't care. Except Traptrix players. Yeah, no, those guys are not playing the deck for the lore. Sorry. All right. That's something. Should we do the reacts now? Should we take a look at the new cards? What if they just want to play SpongeBob? A good point. The Plunderers look are the only reason I picked them up. I love those guys. Yeah, right? Like, it is definitely a massive portion of players who play decks because of their aesthetic rather than their gameplay. Like, I very vaguely dabble in Magic, but I know that whenever I draft or something or play online, like, I want to make a black deck, right? Because I'm just, like, an edgy weirdo who, like, loves that evil vibe, right? Like, that's just the color I go for. I don't even know if I would like the mechanic that much. Maybe I'd be more of a blue guy. Maybe I'd enjoy green more. But I just really like the aesthetic and feel of, like, the black side of Magic. Do you know what I mean? So I get it, right? I completely understand. What I don't get is how you can be angry about different art styles when Yu-Gi-Oh has multiple different styles of archetypes from edgy to cute. Well, because the difference here is that those are just designed to be part of Yu-Gi-Oh's space, right? Those archetypes and stuff. Whereas this is just some other company saying, hey, let's collab, and then do it, repeat 50,000 times into a universe that doesn't mix with each other. Like Wizards and SpongeBob, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference.